Hi, welcome to Chapel.
So today we have a very special chapel for you planned, and with a very special guest. Miss Rego is going to be joining us in a segment that I think it's fair to call life advice.
I can definitely agree with that. I think that we're all going to take something important away from today's chapel. So I pray that you are blessed and that you have a great time. Enjoy chapel. Oftentimes, as students and as faculty of the school, we are often questioned. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree? But this time, the roles are reversed, people, and we are going to be interviewing. Ta-da! So let's go ahead and get to know her a little bit better. Let's get started.
Yeah, first question. So this year has certainly been a different one. I would say it's one for the books.
Yeah.
We will never forget it,
Yeah.
especially us first year teachers,
Absolutely.
never going to forget it. Miss Rego, what has been the greatest challenge that you've faced, and what has it taught you?
Honestly, I think that the greatest challenge that I faced is just the whole isolation of being stuck in one place. And especially when, I'm a social butterfly. I love to be around people. I love to laugh. I love to talk. I love to just, I guess, be me.
Yeah.
And being isolated for such a long period of time, I think that really took a toll, not just on the kids, but it also took a toll on adults as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Because everything that we were used to, we sort of had to stop. And I think that if anything, what I've learned from that this year is that I need to love people a little bit more. I need to accept people a little bit more. And even though I always say, God, give me some patience. And then I say, no, forget it. I don't want patience. I just want to lose 20 additional pounds. You know what? Honestly, I need more patience, because I need the patience to maybe be able to work through things I don't understand and then have the faith to think that, things are going to get better. And yeah, I think that's what I have learned this year, that I love being around people and I definitely need more patience.
That's fair. That's
We all.
fair. Absolutely. Alrighty. Here's my question to you, Miss Rachel.
Oh God.
Alrighty. So, what are some traditions or quote unquote superstitions that you have for the first day of school?
Traditions and superstitions. Okay, so first of all, before any first day of school, I need to go to sleep early, because I don't know what the next day is going to bring. But the thing is that then I try going to sleep early and I just can't. So I'm awake actually all night long. And I've done this now for 21 years. And just like you guys, I also get butterflies.
Do you?
Yes!
Oh my God.
And it's all about oh my God, so what's going to happen? What can go wrong? And on the first day of school, at the end of the first day, when we have just sailed right through it, I'm just like, now I can go to sleep. I'm good. I'm totally good.
That's fair. That's nice.
So, to piggyback off of what Candelario said earlier, right, about, getting over and sort of overcoming adversity, right, throughout the year, something that I feel is super true of everyone right now is we all fear failure, right? And I feel that a lot of us don't know how to really handle the idea of failing or not doing so hot. So how do you deal with failure?
So how do I deal with failure? Bugs. I think how I deal with failure is that more than anything, I just accept it. Because, and to some degree, even the most vain person knows that they are not perfect. And that we are never going to reach that type of perfection. And yes, I've gone through failure too, people. So, but yeah, I think that every time that you fail, you get just another opportunity to learn from it, and then figure out, okay, so this is what I did wrong. Maybe I shouldn't do that one again. Maybe I should do something else. And it definitely provides you with the opportunity, first of all, to gain experience and wisdom, and regardless if you have failed, because that you all have at one point, hello, me too, it definitely gives you the opportunity that when you do see somebody in that mode that they are failing and continuously failing, that you actually have words for them. Why? Because you've been through it. And everyone has failed. So I mean, in every failure, there's an opportunity, of success. Because eventually you are going to learn from it, and you are going to be able to come back from it. So that's always been my takeaway from failure. So I didn't get this, or I didn't score this. Okay, so then let me just try again.
Yeah.
There's no harm in trying again, and always wanting to self-improve. And failure does provide you with that option. Now, if you continue to fail at the same thing, it's like me wanting to run through a wall. Guess what?
Yeah.
That wall ain't moving.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out a way as to how am I going to circumvent that wall, to get to my goal, And to me, it's really interesting because, last night I was reading about, in the book of Habakkuk, and I was reading about this prophet, and something that I guess that he's known for is that God spoke to him and said, you know what, have a vision and write it down. He told him to write it down on tablets.
Yeah.
I am not very good with a chisel and hammer. In fact, it'll probably crack and break up into a million pieces. However, but what I do is that if I have a vision and I have goals, and even though sometimes, my failure might be in there, I write it down and I look at it and I'm like, okay, how do I get to this next part that I want to get to? So definitely, I mean, have a plan for how do you overcome that failure.
Yeah, so one of the things that we often struggle with as human beings talking about fear is fear of the things that we don't know, right? What you don't know can scare you. So how do you deal with fear of the future, the unknown?
I think that every day is sort of unknown. So, I mean, I can wake up this morning having a million things to do, which that's normally the case. And guess what? I accomplish none of it because my life has gone in a different direction. So, I mean, I just think that fear is just something to be dealt with, and you can't live life afraid because, I mean, you only have one life to live. Sort of like La Novela on, I think it's like Channel 7 or 10 or one of those. I don't know. I used to watch it when I was a kid, and it was called One Life to Live. So really, if I only have one life to live, how am I always going to live in fear? So then what type of life would I have led? So no, I'm not choosing to live my life in fear. I'm choosing to live my life with, you know what? There's going to be days that I'm going to have good days. There are going to be days that are going to be terrible days. And then there are going to be days that are going to be blah days. And I'm okay with that. So why fear what I don't know? That to me, and I have this conversation with my daughters all the time. I can't live in fear. That why am I going to have all this crazy anxiety? My life is not promised. My day, I mean, who ever said that you're going to have a great life? Nobody. So why are you always going to be like, oh, well, because I'm afraid of doing this because this can happen. Okay, but you're afraid of doing this because this can happen. But what about if you actually do it and this other thing happens?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like amazing. So no, I refuse to live my life in fear. It's not happening. And I think that I actually learned when I was actually probably younger than you people for sure. Because ya usted tan viejo. But, like with my mom, when she was going through her battle with leukemia, she got sick when I was 7, 8 years old. And she passed away when I was 13. She was 33 years old. I mean, and I'm like, no, I see, and as a child, you're looking at this person that you love and you see them that they're sick every single day. But you know what? She never had fear. Why? Because she knew, that she was going to get something better, and that's the joy that we have when we have our faith in Christ, that nothing is promised to you except for life ever after, so I'm not going to live in fear. I refuse to spend the days that are counted living in fear. I've been telling the kids, it's terrible. I've been telling the kids the juniors and the seniors, I know I've already lived half my life. I'm 45 years old. I can't deny this, you know? So I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to be happy in my skin, you know? And I'm not going to be afraid of what I don't know. In fact, I'm going to take it more of a challenge, you know? And I'm going to like, yeah, let's go. Let's get at it, you know? No, I'm not going to look as if I sucked on a lemon all day long. Don't suck on lemons, people. Actually, my husband sucks on lemons all the time, and he loves it, you know? But food for thought, it tears away at your enamel, so don't do it. Don't do it. Esa va a quedar sin diente. But don't look as if you've been sucking on a lemon. You know, what type of joy is that going to bring? And I don't mean the sucking on a lemon, but the just looking like everything is doom and gloom. No. You know, it's definitely more draining. You're absolutely right. To be negative all day long than to just live a life of peace. You know, if you live a life of peace, then you're good to go all the time.
Awesome. So, I want you,
Ya tú sabes.
to think of 3 words.
No.
That's one though. That's one down.
That doesn't count. That you would use to describe your years in school, whether it was elementary, middle, or high school. 3 words. Go.
Okay, so like you would totally expect the principal to have like a halo on her head and be a star.
Scandalous. I
So
don't think we knew this.
actually, that's actually really interesting that you just mentioned the word scandalous.
Hi.
Okay, because back in high school, I belonged to like a big club at Miami High, and on the back of my jersey, everybody referred to me as scandalous.
Wow.
I would definitely say then, okay, scandalous is one of them.
Okay.
Troublemaker.
Oh. Would you
Yeah.
care to elaborate?
Yeah, no.
I tried, people.
But and you know what? My other one would have to be nerd.
That's
you
fine.
know,
Scandalous, troublemaker, nerd. There
nerd.
you have it.
Yeah, because guess what? The books, the education, it's a means to an end. You know, and that then now I'm gonna flip the tables on you guys.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. I mean, I've had you all in class at one point or another. And I love learning. Okay. And this was not prepped.
It wasn't.
What can you guys say that you guys learned from me?
Oh,
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Now, I want to make sure I understand the question.
In general.
The classroom in general.
In
okay.
general. It doesn't have to be something from inside the classroom, something that I actually taught, but maybe something that I actually taught you in particular.
I'll go first.
yeah, go for it. I'll go second. I'll go second. I already have yours.
Yeah.
Let's have yours. Let's have yours.
And this was something that when I saw this, I admired you all the more for it. To be fair. To be fair. It doesn't matter if you are the best student or if you're struggling. Treat everyone the same. And if you're in a high pedestal, that does not mean that you are exempt from mistakes and from consequences of those mistakes. So I learned from you that when I am in the classroom or whatever I ended up doing in my life, at the time I was a junior and a senior. I didn't know what I wanted to do just yet, but I learned whatever I do, wherever I go, I have to be fair. I have to treat everyone the same. Everyone deserves a second chance, but I also have to be fair in my consequences. There are rules, there are consequences, and when those rules are broken, those consequences apply to all. I have to make sure I'm fair while still being loving. So that's something that I learned.
Tough love is
And
important.
Tough love
That's really
is
good.
important.
So,
Take criticism well and let it make you better.
That's
So, what you said was beautiful. I will say to some degree I did learn that. My takeaway, and it's very simple. I'm very awkward when it comes to interactions involving like a camera. So obviously, when this goes live, everyone will see how truly awkward I can be on camera. But what I did learn was self-deprecating humor is amazing and it's something that you can use. But it's not to say that you're using the humor as a means of making fun of yourself, but it's to be approachable, right? Because your teacher's the principal, so presumably that's already going to give you, it's going to intimidate you to some degree, right? And so there's a fine line between, just your teacher, whether it be history, science, and then your teacher who also happens to be your principal, and you have to measure yourself a certain way. And you made it much more approachable. You made it an experience where even if obviously, everyone is treated equal, there is a hierarchy to a degree, right? And so to not have that awkwardness of I have to tiptoe around my principal, who is also my teacher, it helped me also kind of balance the way that I teach, where now I'm okay using a certain type of humor and approaching the kids in a level in which they feel comfortable, but they understand, kind of what's up. So that's my takeaway.
And it definitely makes you approachable and it makes you relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now you're not just the teacher, you're also human.
Yeah.
And you laugh, you have a sense of humor, which by the way, if you haven't had La Brada,
Oh my
gosh, like you'll be rolling like with tears in your eyes as to you laughing so hard.
Yeah. He takes up after her.
Yeah.
He does. Okay, and mine is very cliche, very, very cliche. But I am in fact the reading teacher, so it's much like me to be cliche. But my takeaway from what I learned from Miss Regal during my years here would definitely have to be that if you reach the end of, and I'm going to phrase it this way, if you reach the end of the rainbow and there is still no light there, then you're still not done. It's not the end. Keep pushing. I've shared it in chapels before where I went through a couple situations during high school, right? Both family, academically, and then some. But I remember stepping into Miss Regal's office numerous times and her having to nip me in the butt and tell me, get this together. I'm not speaking academically. I'm talking like in that moment, I felt like it was a person talking to another person. I didn't feel like it was an adult lecturing me. I didn't feel like it was my principal lecturing me as a student. I felt like it was a human, like a person-to-person interaction. And she said, get your stuff together, keep pushing. It's not the end. And this is not going to be your end. So I would definitely have to say that she taught me to always look at things in the bright side, be optimistic, keep pushing. It's not the end. You're going to get through it. And I say that because it's all that I can remember. It's not the end. It's not the end. It's not the end. And it won't be your end. And you are the person that determines your future. You are the person that can control it. And if you are in control, then why not keep pushing until you achieve what you want to achieve? So thank you for that.
So we talked a lot about, overcoming adversity. We talked about how crazy a year has been and how to overcome failure. But I think the people that need to hear this message the most is likely the seniors, right? They're going into a big kind of vast world.
Whole new world.
That they need to figure out sort of how to go
You
about
guys
it.
didn't have to go through that, right?
No. No.
You guys were never seniors. You just like popped out of your parents and you were you.
So if only we had a senior nearby. Oh my God, it's Ian!
Yeah.
Oh, it's him!
Wow!
Wow, what
Join
great
us.
timing!
So how has your day been?
Been good so far. Hopefully.
Why are you here?
I was called over here to ask for some advice about my senior year. Would you happen to have any advice for me, Miss Regal?
What do you mean about your senior? Your senior year just finished.
Not yet.
So aren't you working on a project?
Technically, yes. I'm supposed to be working on it right now.
So then your question is, what advice would I give the seniors?
Yeah.
What advice would I give the seniors? Well, the pandemic's been terrible, but your life doesn't have to be. Okay. And I think that you are the one that eventually chooses how your life will go. I mean, when we talk about, especially in a junior class, when we talk about choices, and today we're going to be talking about choices for the juniors, everything is a choice, whether it's a good or a bad choice. So then it's all about what choices are you willing to make. I mean, we all know the difference between good and bad, so then why make bad choices when you know that there's a better choice there, or there's a good choice? So as you now start this new journey of your life into adulthood, no, I think it's about making better choices, and it's also not festering on that sometimes terrible things happen, but it's looking at that, what, things can actually not be terrible, because it all depends on the choices that you make in order to make them better. So even though things don't always go our way, you always have to look for like a silver lining in what is terrible, because nothing ever is truly all that terrible. It's just your perception of it. So then it's, okay, how do you make something that is pretty bad better? And going into this new milestone of your life, which it's coming in 31 days. 31 days, seniors. It's make better choices, and always look for the positive, even in the negative. I mean, even in math, 2 negatives equals what? A positive. So how can everything always be that completely negative when even in math, and math doesn't lie, math is like biology. 2 negatives will give you a positive, so make it positive. And that would be the advice that I have for you. Not everything is truly terrible. And to all the seniors too. Hi, shout out to you peoples at home. Peace. We love you. Bye, seniors. And you too, Ian. Bye. We get back to class. Bye-bye.
Alrighty.
So the questions aren't done. Because
Okay.
I think that now, talking to seniors, specifically the seniors, that they have to decide what they want to do with their lives. But that is something that we all think about, whether you are a middle schooler, a high schooler, you're thinking about, what do I want to do in the future? And I want to ask you, did you always know that you wanted to be a teacher/leader? And also, what would you say are important qualities in a leader?
So that is a really heavy question.
Slow down.
Did I always want to be a teacher? No.
That's fair.
What I did know that I wanted to do is that I wanted to impact. And I think that, I mean, being a teacher to being a principal at the beginning, I got into this. You really want me to be honest?
Please.
The vacation is amazing. The vacation is amazing.
Sure is.
And what I love about teaching is actually the relationships I get to have with the kids. And it's the kids, even when they've gotten bigger, that they still like exhibit A, B, and
Come
C.
back, visit all the time.
And it's the kids that they still contact me through, whether it's telephone or whether it's through text or whether it's through Facebook or whether it's through Instagram. I think that's what I've enjoyed most about this. But the question was, did I always want to be a teacher? And the answer is no, because I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to be able to impact people. I wanted to be able to serve people. And I think that those are all, like, answering your second question, what are things that a true leader, I guess a leader would possess, what qualities? And honestly, I think that a leader needs to be willing to serve, and if you can't serve others, how are you going to lead others? I think that a leader also needs to have a sense of humor, and just like I was telling Ian, not everything is always terrible, so I mean, it all depends on your delivery of it. Munoz always tells me, If you're gonna say something nasty or say something negative, at least smile through it. I totally always smile through everything negative that I need to say. So I guess the delivery of that makes it a little bit easier. And then a leader also needs to, I think a leader also needs to have like love for what it is that they're doing, and love for everyone that they have to come into contact with. So I didn't always want to be a teacher, but my goodness, I really enjoy the classroom. And I think that is something that I've learned to love over these last 21 years, because it has been 21 years now that I've been doing this. And I love the interaction with the people. Again, the first question out of the block today was what was terrible about this pandemic, and it was the isolation. And having the kids on the screen, terrible. I hated it. I've been hating it all year long because it's taken away from the interaction that I would have with the kids. And even though I'm still myself on camera, and honestly, sometimes I feel like a crazy YouTuber. I should be getting paid for this by YouTuber, at least Google Classroom. Hi, we're Google Classrooming live today. But yeah, I think I think it's something that I've grown to love, just because I love learning and I love being around people and I love being able to impact other people's lives. Because anything that you say could change the mood of a person, and it also could change the outlook of a person, and it also could maybe possibly even give that person a little bit of vision that they didn't have before. So did I always want to be a teacher? No. But am I happy I have been a teacher? Absolutely. I wouldn't want to change it.
So, to close out this little interaction, this little interview that we've had so far, I do want to ask you this. What do you think will, or rather, shall I ask, what will be your quote-unquote fingerprints on this building, not so much the structure physically, but the school within itself, after you leave?
My fingerprints, they're really large fingerprints because I got really large hands. But I think what's important for everyone to know is that, you have all of these opportunities in front of you. Seize them. Your teachers come in here every single day with the desire for you to learn. Even if you're not the best student, it doesn't matter. Their desire for you is that you learn something, is that you become someone. And honestly, that has always been my desire. I mean, that's the reason that I went back to school. And I'm not saved by the bell. That's the reason that I came back to school, or I went back to school to get another degree. And it was basically to let everyone know, hey, first of all, you can. Second of all, learning is never over. You learn every single day. Third of all, you can, just like I was telling Ian, if you make better choices, your life always changes towards the better. Why continue to do the wrong things when you know that they're absolutely wrong? Wouldn't it just be better to do something that's better? And the fingerprints that I would leave on this place would actually be: get an education, get a degree, become what your parents envision you to become, what we all here realize that you're quite capable of doing, regardless if it is hard, regardless if it takes a little bit more time, regardless if you have to put more effort into it, you're still able to do this. There's a statistic that I remember. I want to say it was the FIU campus president several years ago. He had said, do you know that from all the kids that go to college, a lot of them won't make it through. However, you need to have a couple of things in order to make it through, because it's not always the smartest person that graduates. It is the person that has the most determination. It is the person that sacrifices the most. It is a person that puts the effort day in, day out. And honestly, that's all I've ever asked of anybody. Mm-hmm. Do the work. If you do the work, it is a means to an end.
Mhm.
You know, if you do the work, it's going to get you from point A to point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, everywhere, you know, and it'll take you around the globe. So do the work, you know, so that is what I honestly hope is my fingerprint on everyone. It's become, you know, don't be afraid as to what you can't do. But seize the moment and continue to strive for, I want to do more, I want to be more, I also want to be a success story, you know, and you can do it. So with that in mind, I told you guys about this minor prophet called Habakkuk. And Habakkuk, God spoke to him and said, you know, write your vision down on a tablet. So obviously don't take out don't write on the walls in your house. That's the bad tablet to do, because if you were my kid and you're writing on my walls, trust me, it's going to be over really quick. But you have another tablet. Take out your iPad. Write down your vision. Write down what it is that you want for yourself, what it is that you want out of your life. Write it all down. Put it down on paper. And if you're like old school like me, I would never be writing any of this stuff down in the notes section of my phone or in the tablet. I would be taking a paper and a pen and writing it down, and then I would put it up somewhere so I can see it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Write down what are your life's goals, or at least your short goals right now. And maybe those short goals will then eventually turn into long-term goals. And every single day is another opportunity for you to get it done. You know, so move closer to it. Every time that you choose to do something wrong, guess what? It's almost as if you're pushing your goals out of your way. You're just swatting them out. So don't swat. Bring closer. Work towards it. And you can do it too. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed Chapel. It's been a little bit different. I did want to thank my former students and now my colleagues, Miss Isamar, Mr. Brian, and Miss Lady Anna, my kids. Okay. Love you. Have a wonderful weekend.